I want to talk about a specific kind of parent frustration, the kind that feels personal, even when you know it probably should not. It's the frustration of watching a child who is clearly, obviously smart, and watching them completely fall apart when it comes to doing anything that requires follow through. They remember every statistic from every sport they have ever followed. They can hold a complex argument about something they care about for 45 minutes. They can teach themselves to draw, code, build, or play music just because they wanted to. But homework? A simple task with a clear deadline? Forget it. Here's what I want you to hear. That is not an intelligence problem. That is an executive functioning problem. And those two things are not the same. Executive functioning is a set of brain-based skills that manage how we plan, organize, start tasks, manage time, regulate emotions, and follow through. It's the system that sits between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Intelligence tells you what the answer is. Executive functioning is what gets you to sit down and write it out. A child can have exceptional intellectual ability and significant executive functioning gaps at the same time. In fact, that combination is incredibly common, especially with kids with ADHD, twice exceptional learners, and highly sensitive children. The brain that is wired to think deeply is often the same brain that struggles to organize, initiate, and persist. The most common mistake I see parents make is this. They interpret the struggle as not caring. They think, he knows what to do, she's clearly capable, so this is not getting done. It must be a choice. And they respond accordingly. More pressure, more consequences, more conversations that go nowhere. But if executive functioning is the issue, which it usually is, pressure does not teach the skill. It just adds shame to an already difficult situation. Think about it this way. If a child had weak reading skills, you would not typically stand over them and say, "You know how to read, just do it." You would get support, I hope. You would break it down into smaller parts. You would help build the skill. Executive functioning is no different. It is a skill, and skills can and should be taught. So what does an executive functioning gap actually look like? It looks like a child who starts 10 things and finishes none of them. It looks like a kid who cannot find anything, even when things are right in front of them. It looks like missing assignments, not because they can't or did not do the work, but because they could not get themselves to start or possibly find what they did. It looks like emotional meltdowns at homework time that seem completely out of proportion to the task. It also looks like a parent who is exhausted, confused, and quietly starting to wonder what they are doing wrong. You're not always doing anything wrong. You're dealing with a brain that needs different support, not more frustration and not more pressure, more skill building. In this series, we are going to talk about 11 executive functioning skills, what they are, how they break down, and what actually helps. Because the goal is not to work around your child's brain. The goal is to build the skills that let that incredible brain actually show up for real life. That's what we do here. Real skills, real life, real change. I'll see you next week.